Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight as we kick off a brand new week of the Mighty SOR, and we got a beautiful one to start you off tonight. A little bit of hauntings, a little bit of ghosts, a little bit of paranormal, maybe even sprinkled with some death. Yes, author Joie Albrecht is with us, pardon me, and we will get to her momentarily. But before we bring her in, and this exciting book that she has called A Deadly Haunting, based on a true story. I'm telling you, I love these true stories. All right, we're going to give the rundown here of everybody who is here so far. We got Mike L. in the gold medal position. Race Fan takes home silver. SJ in the bronze. Hey, Andrew and James Horn, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming on in. Jan Yannick, nice to have you back. Where is she? There's Typical Watch. And, of course, Alaska's greatest athlete, the stunning and talented Emily Bigelow is here, everyone. Give her a wave. Edmund Rakowski, I hope you're still awake. Steve Edmund, good to see you. Slim, nice to have you here all the way in Aussie land. We have the gorgeous Ange. Ange will be signing autographs after the show. Please line up to the right. She may be a little bit late due to flight delays, but we will get her here. Not a problem. All right. Sassy Sandra, good to see you. The lovely and talented Cosmic Fleur is here. And the Michael Leger, everyone. The Michael Leger has entered the chat room. Beef Stew will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. Hi, Ed Clater. Good to have you back. And my gorgeous wrench, Jenny, is here. The lovely and talented Floridian Steph Dickey has arrived. Thank you for joining us. Hi, my favorite Nikki in the world. How are you? And good to see you. Where are we here? Scrolling on down. Richard Elmore's here, everyone. Richard Elmore. Millennium, good to have you back, my friend. Good to see you. And where is everyone else? Brett Lewis is here, which means we can officially start the show. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. Hey, Luftaug, how you doing, man? Good to see you. And there's where it jumps. And let's go back here and scroll on down again. Shiny Ray, how are you? You lovely piece of sunshine. Nice to have you back. Miss Pickles, you're looking lovely tonight. UFO Toronto, good to see you. Knucker in Oregon, nice to have you here, my friend. 5900, thanks for coming on in. Uncle Dale and his power stash. If you are in Austin, Texas, remember, if you find Uncle Dale and give his power stash a tug, you may win the Powerball. There's rumors of this happening, so you might as well give it a try. Brother Eugene, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. J1, you're looking lovely tonight. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Jay Breezy. 509er, good to see you. And Virgil, nice to have you here. Firefighter, PJ, hey, what's going on? Welcome to our chat room for the first time, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Project Blue Book, SJ. And where else? We got Kevin. How you doing, man? Good to see you. All right, I think I'm almost caught up here. And Kim Jellin, looking lovely and talented tonight. What is your secret? Please let us know. Jose, what's happening, man? Thank you for joining us. Joie Albrecht is our guest tonight. We're getting into some paranormal stuff tonight. It's going to be good. Dry Toast, what's happening? By the way, one of my favorite names on YouTube, man. Dry Toast. Fantastic name. Fantastic. It makes me laugh, though. I'll be honest. It does make me laugh. So good job on that. Good job. Okay. We got about, let's say here, about 2 minutes before we launch. Joie Albrecht is our guest tonight. And we're in for a fun time here, ladies and gentlemen. We're in for a fun time. And she's all set up. She's waiting in the background. I'll give you a little sneak peek. There she is. Joie Albrecht. There you are. There she is, waving right there. And we'll get back to her momentarily. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hello, lovely Marie in L.A. Focus and Big Rob. How you doing? Good to see you. My good buddy. There he is. Big Bad Gary from P3 Productions. And, yeah, we love you, man. Thank you for coming on in. As we love every veteran who listens to this show. If you're like Gary Spikes Jr. and you are a veteran, please let us know so we can give you a shout out, because we absolutely adore the fact that we can help bring some entertainment to your lives. And Tristan Stevens, looking absolutely stunning tonight. Lockbeard, you're looking stunning as well. Thanks for joining us. We are about 40 seconds away here from lunch. And I want to remind you that a great way to support this show, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. It really helps us out. Also, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, whatever you feel we deserve. And of course, hey, Virgil, yeah, Air Force 92 to 96, right on. And thank you for that, buddy. Hey, Sean, how are you? And don't forget, the super chat is open, which is always a good way to support what we do on the Mighty SOR. So sit back. Hi, gorgeous Helena. How are you? Sit back, relax, because in 15 seconds, we're going to launch this bad boy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have a great time tonight. Hi, Tiniest Squitch. How are you? Good to see you. 5 seconds, everyone. Sit back. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Space Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Oh, we are in for a good one tonight. Born and raised in Denver, Colorado, Joie Albrecht attended Colorado University on a talent and creativity scholarship. She began her writing, directing, and producing at the age of 21 in Los Angeles on a 2-hour ABC network primetime special. Since then, she has written, directed, and produced over 80 aired hours of network footage and national cable television, most which have ended up in the top 10 ratings. Of course, you know you're good when you hit the top 10, always. And this lady is good. But the pursuit of the paranormal and truth brought her into a little bit of the dark side. Her book, A Deadly Haunting, is based on the true story of the Moffat family. It can be found on Amazon and elsewhere. We're going to find out more about this tonight. And don't forget, at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Joie Albrecht, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I am very good. Very excited to have you here. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate you coming on in. Did you always have an interest in the paranormal?
Yeah, I was always into spiritual kind of stuff from the time I was a toddler. I could communicate with other beings and energies and all of that. So yeah, that wasn't anything new for me.
So for you, having this lifetime of contact of spirits around, and it's nothing new to you. I mean, for you, what was it like growing up in a household like that?
You mean, I'm not talking about the Moffats. I'm talking about me.
Yes.
Yeah. That was just normal. I mean, when I was a kid, I would ask my mom, what are all these little things dancing in the air, because I was looking at energy stuff, and she thought I was nuts. So, as a kid, you kind of keep your opinions to yourself and go, oh, okay, But I knew all that stuff when I was little. Yeah.
Was there a history of that in your family?
My mom's mom was into this kind of stuff, and she used to study Edgar Cayce when I was little. And later, I met the Cayces, and I'm developing a project right now for Edgar Cayce. So that came back to, I was probably 10 when I got into that.
For you growing up with this ability to see things and have things around that, for the most part, most people have no clue what that's like. What was it like having this happen every day?
For me, it was just normal. Um, it's always been so that I could kind of reach through the other side and be aware of people. So many times in my life, the angels will come and say, "Go talk to that person. Go talk to that person." I go, "No, no, 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 no. I can't do that." They go, "Yeah, you can. You can." And so, every once in a while I do that, and I go, "Okay, somebody wants to know, blah blah blah," and I just kind of run away then, and they go, "What? What?"
Did you ever consider yourself psychic?
Oh yeah.
So
I
what
used
give me an
it,
example of something that weird that happened to you that you were able to predict or see happen.
well, I when I was in college, the very first year of college, I did readings for people, and I was really very accurate to it, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. So it was something that I just kept to myself. I didn't go out and be a psychic.
Do you ever recall, like, see, were you predicting things to happen?
Sure.
Whether it was somebody getting in a car crash or somebody all of a sudden, tripping and falling and hurting themselves. Was that happening to you?
Not about me. I can't see for my future because it's too close. My mom always wanted me to do readings for her, and I couldn't do that because I was too close with her. I didn't want to figure out, is that what's really happening, or is that what I want her to happen? So it's easier to do a reading with someone that you don't know at all, because then whatever you come, is true.
Very true. Joie Albrecht is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. So, from a young time, though, you had a big interest in film and television. How did that begin?
Absolutely. Yeah. In junior high school, I was in plays, and I was an actress, and I I went to a scholarship at CU in Boulder. There were 500 people that were auditioned, and I got one of them, one of the two scholarships. So um, it was 2 years that I was at CU, and I was loving, being an actress. And I went to LA, and about 6 months after I got there, I went, I think I knew that somehow I was doing that before, and this is supposed to be different. So I went behind the camera and pursued the directing and writing and producing.
Do you like being behind the camera more than in front? Is that what you're saying?
I like both. I like both, but I think I think I know that I've been an actress before, so this time I need to do something a little different.
So, what
So
attracted you? What
obviously,
attracted you?
go
Go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, no, please.
Obviously, I believe in past lives, so I'm talking about a past life kind of thing.
So, for you being behind the camera, what was the enjoyment you found behind that in being part of the creative side rather than the acting side?
Part of it was because the creative thing about writing, creating the stories, creating those things was really fun. But also, you have some power when you're doing that. If you're an actress, you're just doing the lines. If you're writing those lines, then you have more power. So
Very true. Very true with that. So you did that for how long?
I went to LA when I was 20. So a long time.
But you also got to work for one of your childhood heroes at Disney.
Yeah, I was on I was on a contract with Disney for over a decade. So I was a producer, writer, and director, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, you can see some of the things behind me, Minnie Mouse and all the different ones that I played with. So,
Can you give us a hint of what you worked on?
there was lots and lots of them, but see, Mickey Mouse's 60th birthday, Totally Minnie, Down and Out with Donald Duck, those kind of things.
How different is it? This is so not a paranormal question, but because I absolutely love the whole Disney aspect of everything, and I'm a
Yeah.
big kid at heart. How difficult is it different writing for cartoons than it is for movies?
Oh, it's very different. If you're writing for animation, then you can completely be a kid. You can completely, create anything. Whereas with real people, it's a different flow, right? I mean, in the past 10 years, I've written probably over 150 scripts in animated series. So it's fun. I like it.
How do you do? Okay, because I'm a giant Toy Story fan. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely bawled my eyes out and wanted to go through the movie screen when Andy gave away his toys in part 3. I hated that. Hated it completely. And mainly because I still have some of my toys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I do. But I mean, the big thing that I'm asking in regards to how do you draw or write for children with an adult twinge where they're going to be able to get the inside joke as an adult?
Oh, I don't think that's difficult, because there's different levels. Kids are on one level, the parents are on another. So some of the stuff goes right over their heads, but the adults go, "Oh yeah, I got that one,"
Well, that's just amazing because I absolutely love the entire Disney aspect of everything. And I know in the conspiracy world, there's a bunch of people thinking that there's some real dark stuff about Disney. Did you ever find any of that?
No, I was there for a long time. I had an office right next to, Roy, and he was just a very nice man. I mean, I don't know of any of that.
Excellent. Excellent. I mean, for you though, getting into film, did you work on a lot of paranormal, supernatural type of scripts or movies or television shows?
No, none, not at all. That's something that I've run into in my life, but it wasn't anything in my career at that time.
So for you, you kind of kept this little love of the paranormal in the dark during your career.
Right.
Was that on purpose?
Not necessarily. It's just, what I really wanted to pursue is family entertainment. And so that's what I pursued. The reason that this book came around, just because, a lot of people who a lot of people who a lot of people, right? And this lady, Deborah Moffat, she is the lady that has the actual story, the true story that happened to her and her family. And so she was asking a lot of people, who can we write this book? Who can we write this book? And somebody said, "Oh, you should call Joey." So she called me and we got together and we talked for about 3 hours and, really got on the same page. And so she hired me to write this book. And I'd never written a book before, just scripts. So I was wondering, can I do that? I think I can, but I really wanted to try. So, so I took that on, but also because, it's a true story. It's about a demon, so because I'm kind of open to, things, I didn't want to be, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I did my meditation. I talked to my angels and I said, "Is this okay for me to do this?" And it felt like, yeah, it's okay. And I was fine. And it was not a problem.
So up before you wrote this book, you didn't have really outside of your own experiences a connection to the paranormal. Like you weren't a paranormal investigator, you weren't someone who was doing it on television as you just when you kind of kept this side hidden on you throughout your career.
Pretty much, yeah.
Was that on purpose because you didn't want to accidentally ruin the career that you had built for yourself?
I don't think so. I mean, again, as I said, I really wanted to be involved in family stuff, which is what I like to do. Um, but obviously I took the job with the book because if I didn't want anyone to know about that, I would have, written that book. So
Excellent. All right. We've got about 8.5 minutes here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Joie Albrecht is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Joey, for you, considering you never had done anything in the paranormal, how much out of the ordinary was writing this book? Because you'd never written a book before. You never considered yourself an author, even though you'd written dozens of hundreds of scripts for movies and television shows. But was this going really out of your comfort zone, not only to discuss the paranormal, even though it was someone else's event, but to write a book as well?
I think it was the way I looked at it. It was a challenge, and I'm always one for a good challenge. So, I wasn't worried about it. A little bit, I was worried about, having that demon, that being around me. That was a little nervous, but other than that, I took a lot of my experiences and my beliefs and so forth that put into that book.
Okay, so I want you to go into a little bit more detail, and I know we can't give away the book here, but paint me a picture on just what you were going through when you decided to create this book.
Well, Debbie and I talked for a long time. She gave me 30 pages of kind of the timeline of what happened, right? And then I took that 30 pages and I created the book out of it. So there were a lot of times that we were on the phone or together saying, okay, on this, what happened and who had that and what, so there was a lot of communication about that in between. And it was 6 months, which a lot of people usually write like a book for years. It took 6 months for me. So,
Well, that's kind of cool.
thanks.
That's kind of cool. So, how did you, having a lifetime of ghosts and experience around you, were you always connected to ghosts? It's one thing to be connected to the spirit world, but were you connected to ghosts as well?
Yes, there was actually a ghost that lived in my parents' house when I was little.
Oh, tell
So,
us about that.
in Colorado, we all had the impression that this was like an old miner or something. He's kind of rough and we could feel him. We could feel him, and we can actually hear him going up the stairs and down. I mean, he never bothered us. He never, went after us or anything. We just knew he was there. So there was one time that I just ran into the hallway to see somebody, and he was coming the other direction, and it actually felt like we went through. It was really, really freaky. It was like all my molecules came across and came back together again. I went, whoa. I could feel him going, whoa. It was really crazy.
No kidding. No kidding. So for you having that experience where you've had spirits kind of go through you and around you growing up with that, this stuff with ghosts never really freaked you out until you kind of started delving into a deadly haunting.
Well, that was a more level of scary. I mean, there's a difference between a ghost and an actual demon. A demon is really evil, and that's scary a little, you know.
So what did you know about demons before getting into this?
Um, well, I was never like a Catholic, although this family were very Catholic. Um, and as a kid, you just learn about things like that, but I've never actually met one or been around one, or you can imagine what it is, but you don't know. I felt very protected when I wrote this book.
Who is protecting you?
I've always had angels around me, so I could feel them protecting me.
What's that feel like for people who've never felt that before?
Mm. Boy, having an angel around or angels around you, you just feel this warmth and this love that's just so intense. It's beautiful.
Can you go into a little bit more detail for me? Paint a picture
Mhm.
for me.
Like being in bed at night with the lights down. As a kid, I could perceive, this golden light. I could feel this protection, this love, and just knowing that everything is going to be okay. That's how I felt.
That feeling of protection that you had
Yeah.
from the spirits, was that something that you knew was going to be there at the time of writing this book?
Oh, yeah. I knew that before I decided to take that assignment. I really talked to the angels and my guides and said, "Is this okay? Am I going to get in trouble here with this being, this bad, evil being?" And I got the impression that I was going to be protected and it was going to be fine. And it was, thank God,
Wow. I mean, I couldn't imagine what it's like to be attacked by a demon or something evil like that. Have you ever had that happen before?
No, no. But again, I always feel like I was protected. The closest I came was in getting into his head a little bit, the being, to say, who is this being doing? What is he doing here? Why is he trying to do this? Or what was he doing? So yeah, that was a little scary, but it never, I kind of got myself separate from it. So this was just a writing thing as opposed to it being in my soul and my heart.
So, from someone in your perspective, how do you go about protecting yourself to bringing that energy up where nothing can get in?
Um, well, I do meditation. Um, so I need to put myself just into a space of light, spiritual light. And when I feel that, I I know it's there, I know that feeling. So that's what I do. I do that all the time in my life.
But what does it feel like?
It feels like floating. It feels like, I hate to say that word. It feels like being high, but you're not high, high in love. So yeah, that.
We have about 30 seconds left. So, when you are protecting yourself, do you use crystals? Do you use prayer? How do you do it?
Both, all, everything. I have lots of crystals in my house. I've always been into crystals, and prayer and meditation and just thinking correctly, thinking of positive things as opposed to negative things.
Yeah,
And
because go ahead, please.
thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. We got quite a bit more show with you tonight here.
Yeah.
And Joey Albrecht, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight because when we come back, we're going to learn what it's like to deal with the dark side. What's it like to meet a family and chat with them and discuss their most intimate hauntings that has literally scared the daylights to the point of near death?
Oh yeah.
It is that scary,
Yep.
that real, and it's
Yep.
called A Deadly Haunting. You want to check it on out. It's on Amazon. We'll get more to it with Joey Albrecht when we come back on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Thank you.
All right, we're clear.
Go.
We got 5 minutes.
So how do you think?
We're doing great so far. I'm just
Okay.
going to ask a favor because this is radio, unlike film. Because
Right.
this is radio, we really got to paint a picture for the
Okay.
audience, and our words are the canvas that we use.
Got
So
it. Okay.
if you could expand your answers a little bit and don't be afraid to go into detail because we have a lot of time here. That beautiful mind of yours is filled with information, and I want to make sure our audience gets the full pop of that.
Okay. Well, the next time, let's go through a little more of the book, and
Sure.
then before we wrap up at the end, I've got some projects that I'm developing on that you guys would be interested in hearing about. So.
Oh, of course. Of course. We got 2 hours. We're okay. We got lots of time.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. As Michael Leger, the Michael Leger says, word candy. Yes. Lots of word candy. So it's all good. And it's my good listener, the Michael Leger, who made this gnome for me.
I love that. That's great. I'm going to run out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you go. I still love that gnome, Mike. Still love it. Thank you, Chefist. How's your mustache, Chefist? Please let us know. Give us a mustache update. We'd appreciate that. I so did not drink enough water tonight. Yes, we are on 7 days a week. Hi, Rachmaninoff. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. 416 Bitcoin. You're awesome. Mm-hmm. Can you guys hear that breathing in my microphone? That's my dog. That's Doug. He's on the other side of my desk. Snakes on a UFO Snakester. How are you? Welcome back. Boom to you, Bama. How you doing? What are you carving now, the Michael Leger? $509er. What's going on? UFO Toronto. By the way, UFO Toronto, are you the same on Twitter? Are you UFOTO on Twitter? I think so. Okay, cool. Hey, oh shoot, I forgot. I always forget to do that, to pin the show on Twitter. Darn it. Thank you for reminding me. What was I going to say? Hey, thank you, by the way, for taking that piece from Grant Cameron's conference yesterday and running with that about the why now. I really do appreciate you doing that, man. Thank you. Trinitro Tulano. I always get that wrong. Trinitro Tulano. There we go. Alien Believers, welcome to the chat room. Let's give you a little push right there. Look at that. There you are. There you are, Alien Believers. $5,900. Cold day in Salt Lake City. Kind of salty there, too. All right. There she is. Look at her, everyone. That's Joie Albrecht right there.
Hi.
There's Michael Latuska. Welcome back, man. Anytime the Jets wipe out the Maple Leafs, that's a good night.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pixie puppets. Very cool. Very cool. We've got about 26 seconds. Big thank you to Mr. Catfish for the awesome super chat. Really do appreciate the support of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to everyone who is listening in for the first time. Thank you all the veterans out there. And thank you to all of our regular listeners who are here every night. We really appreciate it. Here we go with the second half hour of the show. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for choosing us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out my free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with author Joie Albrecht, and we're going to get into this incredible story that, I mean, for many people, this seems like a movie or a book right out of science fiction, but this is the real deal, the story of the Moffat family. And Joey wrote this book, A Deadly Haunting, based on a true story, with Deborah Moffat and Jessica Moffat. And Joey, welcome back.
Hi, nice to be here.
It's nice to have you here as well, my friend. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, in regards to doing this, just for our audience members who are joining us, you've never written a book before, but how did you become familiar with the Moffat family?
We had lots and lots and lots of conversations, and Debbie had given me, as I said, about 30 pages of notes. So I really had to, you were talking about, am I psychic? Well, part of that being psychic was just knowing what was going on, even though every detail wasn't said. And it was interesting. A couple of times I would give her chapters to read. And, when you're writing, you're embellishing because it's based on a true story, And many, many times she'd go, "Oh my God, I never even told you that, but that's exactly what happened." So, did I create it, or did I, just saw it there? I don't know, but it's nice. I want to show you that this is the story. Here's the book, Deadly Haunting. And the illustration was done by Debbie's daughter. So she did that. It was a very nice illustration. You want to come back in? There you go. So there's the book. And the story started out with this woman from the Dominica. Her name was Juanita, and she took care of the grandmother. And she was also into Santeria, which Santeria it has some background in the Catholic Church, and also, voodoo, and I mean, it's this weird, strange, thing. And they use a lot of blood animal, they kill animals and do things for that. So it's kind of spooky and scary, right? But she was so afraid that the woman that she was taking care of was going to die, and then she wouldn't have a job. So she started doing all these Santeria and Santeria kind of things, and she actually accidentally allowed this being, this demon, into their world. So once that happened, they couldn't get rid of him. And that was the scary part. She didn't know that, or she knew, but she didn't tell anybody. And very shortly after that, the older lady, she died. And so she had to leave. And there they decided, well, we need to rent, the house, make some money. So they rented this house to this man, and the demon was there. So all these horrible, horrible things were happening. And, finally, there was another house that they were renting as well. And things were happening in that house. And so Debbie was really excited about everything. Wow, look what happened. Look what they're doing. Everyone else was scared to death. So it was very interesting, the different opinion about it, right? For instance, all of a sudden things would be turning upside down. Little statues or pictures. And literally within 2 minutes, it would be zoop, and they'd turn it back and it would go zoop. Some things right in front of their eyes. So that was kind of weird and spooky. And then they experienced a lot of apporting. Do you know what that is? Have you heard of that?
Well, explain it for our audience who may not have.
Okay. It means that an object can disappear and then appear again something else. So on the one house that was rented for Danny, that was the guy, all of a sudden they would go home and see his watch in their house. And they're going, okay, how did that happen? Right? But they were afraid that he was going to say that they were stealing the stuff, and it wasn't stealing, and he would sneak back and put it back in his house. And then before they came back again, it was there again. So things were really, really strange. The furniture in the houses would be completely taken out and then put back in on a big pile, and literally can happen in 5 minutes. It's just gone like that. So it got to be to the point where they just became, that's, normal of what they had to deal with every day. The other house that was rented, where she actually, the girl had some of these Santeria things before, and he got a Ouija board out. Now, when I was a kid, when I was in like 7th grade, my friend and I, we used to play with Ouija boards. It was really, really scary. And there was one, this is my experience now, there was one entity that went through, and we got really scared, and we ran to the other neighbors, and we're going, knock, 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 ding, 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 somebody be around, right? And we looked in the knob, and there was this woman behind us going, that was it. We would never, ever, did anything with the Ouija boards again. And I don't think that they are good ones. I wouldn't recommend people to play with those, because you can't have any control about who can go through that. It can be very evil kinds of beings. So anyway, this one guy was playing with the Ouija board, and his son came and lived with him. And the son actually had a horrible experience with that entity, and he kind of lost his mind. And the father died very mysteriously. So, it wasn't just like fun and games. It was really scary. It was really serious stuff. Then he left. Well, he died, and so they rented it to somebody else there. And it was a man and his wife, not his wife, but his girlfriend, and they just get more and more arguing with each other and so forth. And he got really mean and started beating her up a lot. And one day she disappeared. And they found out after he left the police came and found out that they found that lady's body. She was all beaten up and died. So, you can't say, was it just a bad person, or was this someone that the entity, the evil one, went into that guy? So these are some of the things that went through. And, you'll have to read the book to see all the other stuff.
How did you get to meet the Moffat family?
It was a friend by a friend. We just introduced through someone else. And she's actually pretty interesting character. She, as I said, she was never afraid of that entity. Everybody else was. She had a deal with this entity saying, I will respect you if you don't hurt my family. And she was never afraid of him. I don't know why, but everybody else was afraid of him. They had, bishops there, priests, all kinds of, paranormal, people in their house. I mean, dozens and dozens of people, and nobody could get rid of this place. So it was probably, I think, one of the most amazing situations of an entity like that, especially because when they moved, all of this happened with these other people, and they said, that's it, we're gonna get rid of all of this, we're gonna buy a new house. They did that, they were really happy, and the entity followed with them to that new house. So it all started all over again.
Wow. What did we know about this demon?
Well, at first we didn't know anything about him. But, one thing about this demon that was different than a lot of demons is that this demon wanted to communicate. It liked to communicate. And he would take the soap and make messages on the mirrors. Actual messages. Yeah. So, they asked him, who are you and where are you from and so forth. And eventually, he said that he was from France, from another, 1600s or something, that he was at he was a monk, and he considered himself to be the prince of darkness. So, there's some pretty scary stuff. And you'll see part in the book that they actually go into past lives and how the connection with the family with that demon. It wasn't just out of blue. There was a connection. There was something that happened from a long time ago.
Outside of being from France, do we know how old this demon was? What kind of demon it was? Was it just a mean spirit trying to play the role of demon? Because we know that's happened before. Right.
Now, he was more an evil, really evil being, not just, something irritating. This was an evil being that says that he was the devil, that he was incarnate, the devil from those other lifetimes. So that's pretty bad.
So he was a real jerk. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Scary. Not just a jerk, but scary. Real scary.
Mm-hmm. So why did he choose this family to kind of torture them?
Well, as I was saying, that there's definitely a connection between them, and I don't want to tell you right now because then I'll give up what the what the story is. But there is one of the person in that family that definitely had some evil themselves, and that connection. Sorry.
No, and I understand. I mean, you can't give up all of the book because otherwise there's no point in people purchasing a copy and
Right.
wanting to see what this is about. But let's go right back to the beginning here. When did this family, the Moffats, first realize that there was a negative entity tracking them and stalking them?
Sure. This was, when the grandmother died. And so that was when the demon had gone into their lives, right? And so that was when they found out, was little by little. First it was like, are you sure that really happened? You say, oh, that didn't happen, right? But they would find things that would move. Like, one time Debbie went in and said, okay, let's go outside, close your eyes for 5 minutes. And they would time it for 5 minutes, right? And then they would come into the house, and all the furniture will be piled outside in the back, gone in 5 minutes. So, it's not impossible to do that. I mean, if a person was there, it would take, an hour to go and do that, not 5 minutes, right? So obviously it was a very kind of thing that the demon was doing that, right? It was just making fun for people right now. So, her husband was really freaked. Her mother-in-law was really freaked. But Debbie in the beginning thought, this is fun. This is exciting. I can't wait to see what they do next time, right? She'd go in and dust everything in the shelf, and she'd walk outside, and 30 seconds she'd walk back, and it was everything turned to the wall instead. And these are shelves way up in the hot with nobody's there, right? So that's when these things began into their life. And then, it got to be really, it was a nuisance in the beginning, right? But then it got to be really, really bad. And every single day, 5 times a day, the demon was taking messages on the bathroom mirror, and jerky kind of stuff, right? And so they finally, they took the soap and they threw it all out so that there was no soap for them to use. Well, then he started creating or taking knives, and taking the knives and carving, into the walls, into the ceilings, into the floors, that were really, really scary. So, I mean, every day they would have to go to, to get paint, and they would fix everything that was wrecked overnight, and then the next day the same thing would happen all over again. So it was too much for them to do. And that's why they decided, we've got to get out of here. We got to get out of this situation. They were trying to have different people there to get rid of the entity, and nobody could do that. When they moved to the new house, and they came back a couple of times just to get a few more things, at the place to move it over there. They had one of their dogs there, just to kind of be the guard dog, overnight. And the being was really pissed because he didn't want to leave, right? So they came there that day, and their dog was killed. The demon had actually taken the poor dog. This is a 150-pound dog, through little tiny bars like that, yanked it through. It was really awful, really, really awful. And they had another situation in their new house with their other dog that had a really bad situation. And I think that the being was just, when he was mad and he didn't have his way, then he would hurt things, and especially for animals,
Yeah. What would set this demon off?
When they were, well, they took his soap away. He wanted his soap. He wanted to go and have friends over. They wanted to go and visit friends, and he didn't want them to do that. So he would do things so that they were prisoners. They literally were prisoners into their house. They couldn't see people. They couldn't have people over because, for one time they went out to some friend's house and they were thinking, oh, we so need this time, to be with people. And they came home and the people that's their house that they were from, suddenly they went into their house and there's the guy's wallet. So what are they going to tell their friends? This is a demon that took it and, he's going to think they stole it, right? So that's why they couldn't be around other people, because it would do things like that would destroy their lives, and their relationships.
Boy, talk about jealousy.
Yeah. I mean,
we have about 3 minutes to go here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Joie Albrecht is our guest tonight. She is the author of the true story, A Deadly Haunting, based on the true story told by Deborah Moffat. How long did this go on for with the Moffats?
6 years. 6 years. Yeah. A really, really long time.
I mean, this almost sounds like the exact story of one of the Conjuring movies or something that the Smurl family went through.
As a matter of fact, it was those people that they came into their house to take care of it, and it was not successful with the Warners. It is Warners, right?
Warrens.
Warren, yeah.
Wow.
Same.
No. Now, what year was this taking place?
This started in 1984, and so 6 years later, it was like 89 in that area.
Wow.
This is in California, near outside of LA.
So how did this family put up with this for 6 years?
They didn't. They were going crazy. I mean, literally, they went crazy, I can't believe they had children. Debbie and her husband had children during that time. And if that was me, I would be scared to death to have children, babies around this demon. But as I said, she'd make a deal. She made a deal with him and said, don't hurt my family and I will respect you. For something, the kids nothing happened to them. It was fine.
That's amazing that the demon obeyed that.
As long as he was respected, which is really weird. I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for 6 years, as we got under a minute to go here, for 6 years that this happened, I'm curious to know, how did they keep their strength? And this may be an answer you want to give after the break as well, but maybe start it off.
If you're in a situation where there's nothing you can do about it, you find the strength. It was really, really difficult for them. Really difficult, especially for the mother-in-law. Lee was the one that the demon was kept going after her. I'm sorry. And she was the one that was a very religious Catholic person, and he wanted her badly, So I don't say anything more about that, but that's all those connections.
All right, I get you there. All right, Joey, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are through 1 hour here on Spaced Out Radio. In the next half hour, we're going to continue to learn about the Moffat family. How does a family stay in a haunted house with demons for 6 years? 6 years. How does this happen? I mean, it's easy to say, just get up, pack up, and leave. But it's not that easy. We'll find out why when we come back with author Joie Albrecht on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. All right, we are on break here for 6 minutes. I will be right back, and I will just let you kind of hang out here, okay?
Yeah, I can't talk. I've been going
That's
relax,
okay.
relax.
That's okay. You go relax. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Okay, I am back.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds here. And in hour 2 here, we start to include questions from our audience as well in the chat rooms. I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Catfish for a couple of super chats. Really do appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much for everything that you do to support this show, man. Really do appreciate it. And we're going to get going here in about 20, 30 seconds. Mr. Bama, boom to you. How are you? Big Bad Duke, nice to see you. Bigfoot Rob, thank you for joining us. And we're going to get going here in about 10 seconds. So here we go, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say thank you and hello to everyone tuning in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Houseman Eyes. Houseman Eyes is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with our guest, Joie Albrecht. She has a great book out that you can find on Amazon. It's called A Deadly Haunting, based on a true story but told by Deborah Moffat. And this is about the Moffat family demon. And man, is this a freaky book, as we could say, because they're the typical American family who dealt with something way out there. Joey, welcome back.
Hi, nice to see you.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. I got a pair of questions from Nikki right off the bat, and she's asking, first off, during this haunting, was there any symbols drawn on floors, walls, ceilings, or mirrors?
Yes. They use the soap to actually, draw on the mirrors, but they also, the demon would take knives and carve symbols in the walls, in the floors, in the, everywhere. And they would have to fix that every day. Some of the things that he would do, his soul, his, thing was, he was a triangle. That was his symbol, was a triangle with a tail. So he uses that a lot of stuff.
All right. Nikki has a follow-up question. And for you personally, have you lived in many haunted homes?
I only lived in one haunted house when I was, 18. I lived in a big house in Denver, and there were 15 other people in that house. And one of the people in the basement there was using, trying to deal with people, evil people. And, that was really bad, because again, when people are inviting evils, it will come. and it's scary.
All right. The darkness that surrounded this family, I know you can't go too much into it because it really is the heart of the book, A Deadly Haunting. But
Mhm.
but the fact that this was going on right under their noses, did they know this was happening?
Oh yeah, from the very first time they knew absolutely, and they probably had at least a dozen, or if not, more than that, of people, parades of people coming through. Well, we can take care of that, and I can take care of that, and oh, this is no big deal, and nobody could do it. You know, um, I'll tell you some of the people that went through. There was an Indian woman, Red Wing, and she was very powerful, and her friend, very powerful people. They came into their house, they went up to their attic, and Debbie was like looking around and trying to peek and watch what's going on. And at some point, and she swear that this happened, all the uh, stuff in the attic will come up, and it created a huge, huge face, like 55 foot tall, face, and it was snarling and just very, very scary. And so when the dog was there, was barking and barking and barking, and so they said, Debbie, you have to go downstairs for a minute. So she went down, and they did this thing that they did. When they came back, they said they trapped the demon into the dog. And she was going, that's horrible, but I don't know if that's really true, blah, blah, blah. As of the next day, nothing happened anymore. All the paranormal stuff had stopped. And they thought, oh my God, that really happened with their dog, right? And so part of it was saying, yeah, that's great. Part of it is going, oh my God, what happened to our dog? But for a month, they had some peace. And then after a month, the dog started getting really, really sick. And another month after that, the dog died. And this was just a very young, very healthy dog. So as soon as the dog died, then again, all these things were happening all over again. And the message in the mirror was, I'm back. It's my house. So, they were just didn't know what to do at that point. We talked about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and she's been very, very, very famous to all these kinds of situations. They came to the Moffats, and they did some prayer, and they actually have had a piece of very, very holy piece from part of the cross that Jesus was on. They have that actual piece of that. And so they use that in some ceremonies with that. And the demon actually went into the her father-in-law, and he started acting differently, speaking differently. It was very, very scary. And then suddenly he just goes, what happened here? So they couldn't get the whole thing for them either. They tried. They wanted to. They put together with some very high people in the church to come and take care of them. And this is the one time that there was someone that we think probably, it worked, but the last minute they decided not to have him come in. So we will never know if that really happened at the time, the way it should have been. Let's see, what else? Any other questions everyone else has out there?
I want to know what the emotions were like around the house, because, I mean, this has to be days and nights of stress. how did they go to work if they weren't allowed to have people over or socialize or go out? How did they go to work? How did they make a living?
They didn't. That's one thing that I asked too. They were lucky to have enough money that they didn't have to work. So otherwise, I don't know what they would have done. But it was difficult. It was 5-6 years of this, day in, day out, year in, year out. And, Lee was going nuts. She was the mother. She was praying all the time. She was crying all the time. She was, very upset all the time. Her husband was just very, very grumpy kind of guy, and was selfish and, wanted more and more and more of what he wants of everything. Debbie was still, keeping it together, for the family, for her kids, and her husband was like Lee. He was very, very upset all the time. So that's what was going, the emotions were in that house. Several times they went and got dogs because they couldn't get around other people. So they would bring dogs to have more, company, and the dogs all got hurt or killed, or, that was really bad. I'm very, I love animals. So that part is really hard for me to even know about that, right?
Being that they were of the Catholic faith, did they not bring in any priests to deal with exorcisms?
The very first guy that went to the house was a priest, and he came and walked in about 2 steps into the house, looked around. You could see on his face what he was feeling. He said a couple of words in Latin, and then he said, "It's all done. It's all done." And he actually ran to his car and got out. So that didn't help it a whole lot. So just because someone has a particular religion doesn't mean that they have the power or the ability to handle something,
Did they have any ghost hunting teams come in and accidentally stir things up worse? Because we've had others on this show who have expressed that same concern, that they accidentally brought in the wrong ghost hunting teams, and they actually made it worse inside the house. Did that happen here?
It did, and it's not because the people were really powerful. Mainly they were not powerful, but the demon was getting pissed off that they kept bringing people up to get rid of him. So that made him more mad. That made him more scary, I guess. There was one guy that everyone has to have a little bit of comedy in that. And this one guy came in and he was just so positive that I've got it handled, not a problem at all. And they went, okay. So he went upstairs and he had a bunch of eggs, regular chicken eggs. And he put eggs in the corners of each of the rooms outside. And then he came down, he was really proud and said, "See, it's all done." And they go, "What did you do?" So he took everyone upstairs and showed them all the eggs. And all of a sudden the eggs, like, literally are going from nowhere and going bam, 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 bam. All the eggs were throwing at him. And he just like screaming and running out. So, it's pretty crazy.
That's just weird. I mean, at this point, when they start inviting paranormal teams in there, did these teams know what they were doing, or were they just a bunch of amateurs that were maybe, found in a, I mean, going back to the 80s, there was no internet then, but were they maybe found in a newspaper, or how did they find these ghost hunters?
Well, yeah, that was difficult then because they didn't have those kind of connections. So they went to the library. Debbie did a lot of research in libraries. she would go to churches and talk to people there and see if they're, can do anything, or if they know anything about that kind of thing. Some of the people that came to their house were pretty naive, that they really didn't know what they were doing, but they had their heart was a good place. They just weren't very effective. And then there were some people that were really, really, professionals. They knew what they were doing. For instance, Ed and Lorraine were very, very famous. And so, there's different kinds of people. There was one lady that was, she's an African woman from New Orleans, and she was a voodoo practitioner. And so she did a whole thing with, a cigar and whiskey and different things that she was doing all around, and different symbols that she was putting out things. And she said that's it. We're done. We're all done. And they're going, really? And they kind of looking around like, what happened? Right? Within 5 minutes, there was this huge explosion and noise, and they went running upstairs, and their big bed, 4-poster bed, was flipped over all by itself. And they went, okay, I guess nothing really happened. And she goes, she charged them anyway, and she left. So it got very, very expensive for them, because they were paying a lot of money to all of these people. And even though some of them were very, good heart, they wanted to try to do that, nobody was able to do that. And at the very end of the book, you'll see there's really a battle of the souls.
They had to feel completely helpless.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
What the people around them, their family, their friends, how are they reacting to this entire situation?
Well, they wouldn't tell anything. They didn't want to tell their friends. They didn't want to tell anybody of what was happening. It was like the shame secret. They wouldn't tell anybody that. So part of the reason is they became prisoners, because they couldn't be around other people. They couldn't talk to other people. I think there's somebody else that was asking you something.
No, but for that, with their family and their friends not really coming around and not being a part of this, I mean, weren't their family concerned that maybe there was some sort of abuse going on in the house, or something a little darker?
I think they were really good at keeping a secret. A lot of people have secrets, and other people behind closed doors, you don't know what's going on. And that was with them. There was nothing going on there that they would tell anyone. And, they were a close family. It was her and her husband, and her husband's, mother and father. And then that was it. That was the whole, and the children. And the children, it's amazing. When this all end up, like after that 6 years, Debbie didn't tell any of the kids until they were like in their 20s. And when her husband finally died, then she told the children what happened. And they didn't remember any of this when they were little.
Wow. That opens up a big door right there. And with only like 5 minutes left to go before we go to break at the bottom of the hour, I don't know if I want to get into that right now. I maybe we'll wait on that, but let me ask you a couple more questions here regarding the family. I mean, a lot of people who are locked in their house, I mean, we always think of the fact that there could be emotional abuse, sexual abuse, or physical abuse going on in a household. Was this ever brought up?
Not that I'm aware of. No. I mean, the father-in-law, Debbie's father-in-law, we say him as he was grumpy, but he didn't beat his wife or anything like that, but he was, emotional. He would beat her up emotional, right? So there was a lot of that, especially Lee. I mean, Lee had the hardest time with all of this. That was her Debbie's mother-in-law.
Why is that?
Some of the messages from the demon were, I own Lee. I want Lee. Lee has to be mine, that kind of thing. So it made a lot more stress on her, on Lee. And because she was the most religious of all of the family, she prayed all the time. She'd have her shrine and her little, things there, and the demon would break everything and throw it all over the, the room. So it was just difficult for her. She went one time to change her clothes, and all of her clothes in the closet, in her drawers, everything were in tattered, completely shredded. She had no clothes. So it was just, it was always something for Lee.
Nikki is asking about counseling and the fact that did this family try counseling in order to try and get some help and get healthy?
At one point they did try to get some counsel, but the counselors didn't believe anything. They didn't believe that these really happened. They thought these people were just having some problems mentally. So how do you get help when someone doesn't believe that it's actually happening,
So the counselors weren't buying the story.
Correct.
And what part of the story were they not buying?
They just didn't believe any of these things would happen. They would say that this entity, writes messages on the mirrors, that he carves into the walls and the floors and so forth. And they're going, well, you're imagining things, somebody else is doing that, they just didn't believe it. So you don't want to sit there and argue with someone saying, I know what I'm seeing, I know what I'm living with, right?
Very true. Very true. Can you go into detail, or actually we only got about 90 seconds left, but for the fact that how much physical abuse was there by this entity, not only on the pets, but on the family as well, outside of the children?
I didn't understand. Go ahead.
Physical abuse from this entity.
It wasn't physical. Nobody got beat up. Nobody got cut, but emotionally, it was completely, it made people crazy, so that was the hard part, was, the being doing anything that being wants to do to make their life miserable. And since they can't go anywhere or do anything about it, then they are prisoners. And that's what they felt.
I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
It sounds so simply. You got a ghost in the house, you leave. But if you're not allowed to leave, because that's when things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume this thing had attached itself to them too. So that way, if they tried to leave, it would go with them. He
did when they moved.
Yeah.
The entity moved.
Well, let's get into that when we come back from the break. Author Joie Albrecht is here. We are talking about a great book called A Deadly Haunting, based on a true story, the story of the Moffat family. We'll be back with the second half of Spaced Out Radio when we return after this. All right, we're clear.
Okay. So
Cool stuff.
we have one more or two more sections here.
2 more sections.
Okay. Got it.
And then we're good for the night.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk to you about, some of the projects that kind of goes in between the family stuff and the paranormal come together in a new project. But you wanted to wait on that, right?
Yes, we'll do that in the final half hour.
Okay.
Stu Gerson, another new website. How much more remodeling, renovating can we take? When it gets done, it gets done. The current site we have is not working properly, so we have to redo it. That's the reason why we are redoing it as we speak here, and that's the reason why it's going on. And with the new site, we'll be able to do a lot more. It will be a lot cleaner. It will be a lot more user-friendly. It'll be friendlier for the building of the rebuilding, I should say, of the Space Travelers Club. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to get it fully launched. And we got a new store going up as well with new product. And it's going to look good, man. It's going to look really good. I promise you. I think I might finally get a website that I like.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Finally.
You have just one child?
I have Twitter. I have Spreaker. I have Facebook. I have Revolution Radio. I have LGAB. I have Twitch. I have YouTube.
No,
Yeah.
I said children.
Oh, children. I thought you said chat room. I apologize. I have 3 kids.
Oh, thanks. Cute.
Yeah. 22, 18. Excuse me. And a 7-year-old.
So your kids into aliens and all that stuff?
No, not really.
No?
No. My one daughter's in college. My second one's getting ready to graduate. And my little guy, he's a grade 2 metalhead. He loves his heavy metal.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. So, and we got guitar lessons tomorrow. So
Cool.
let him crank it up.
Yep.
If you hear any deep breathing in the background, that's my dog.
Aw. I took my kitty in the other room and shut the door. Otherwise, she would be meowing the whole time. I'm surprised people aren't asking more questions.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
All depends on their mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. All depends on their mood.
Okay.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes.
Okay. We'll be right back.
No problem. Dr. Trollauchi, why don't you just change your name back to 416 Bitcoin? Or is 416 Bitcoin your split personality and you just haven't made it there yet? Or that one's still angry at me? Hello, gorgeous Candy Romero. How are you? Welcome to tonight's show. Big thank you to Ed Clater and Catfish for the awesome super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who has hit that subscribe button. Hi, M. Dane. Welcome. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We want to say thank you to everyone tuning in wherever you may be. And of course, we also want to remind you that all of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Joie Albrecht. She is the author of A Deadly Haunting, based on the true story of the Moffat family. This book can be found on Amazon. Welcome back, Joey.
Hi, nice to be here.
The family. Lots went on, and they tried to move. This demon kept on following them. Tell us about that entire happening there.
Well, they just felt like we can't take this anymore. So with the tenants that rented the different houses that they owned there, they didn't rent again because of all the bad things that happened to those people. And they finally decided that that was going to be it. We were going to go and get a nice house, and we're going to move, and this will be over, right? And at the time, they really thought that it was all going to be okay. But as I said before, he didn't want them to leave. And so all the bad things were happening. Their dog was, very, very bad, killed. Different things that were happening there that they just couldn't believe. They finally sold the property. There were 3 properties there. They sold the properties. The people that bought the property demoed everything. And to this day, 30 years ago, it's still, nothing has happened. It's just dirt that nobody was able to rebuild there. So we don't know what happened there, but obviously something happened because the people that bought it were planning to, put in an apartment building or do something there, and nothing ever happened. Yeah. One of the places in the new place, they had a nice swimming pool, and they thought, oh, this is Southern California, let's get a pool, let's do all that, right? And one day they came up. This is one of the people that tried to get rid of the entity. And they usually have like bowls with holy water or that kind of thing. And every time that somebody had a bowl of something with them, they would always end up in the pool. And every time the pool got really, really bad. And one time it was so green and icky and smelly, and they actually had like oozing kind of black stuff coming out of their swimming pool. So they tried to bring different people to clean that up, and nobody could fix it. Even when they started to clean the water a little bit, immediately overnight it would be worse and black the next day. And that was when one day Debbie was outside, and their little dog, I feel so bad for all these little dogs. But she was outside, and all of a sudden the dog was up in the air with nothing's around them. It was up in the air and thrown like 100 foot. The dog goes into the pool, and she dove into the pool after the dog to save the dog. And it all this kind of black goo came out of their lungs, and it was horrible, really horrible. These are the kinds of things that they dealt with all the time.
Yet it was never physically violent to them. Why is that?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think that they were just they were beaten up so badly, Now, Lee did get hurt towards the end of the book, and that's the situation. She was really bad hurt, and she was in the hospital, and that became a whole, war against the soul. It was really against the angels and the evil. And that's very interesting to see what happened with her in the hospital then.
Okay, Nikki has a question here. Did you say that the demon kept stating he wanted Debbie's husband's soul?
No. He wanted her mother-in-law, Lee. Lee was a woman, so that was her mother-in-law, and that's who the demon wanted, was her.
Weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yep.
All right. Kirk is asking, what preemptive measures can one take so these things don't happen?
You don't start messing with stuff like that lady did in the beginning of doing ceremonies, the Santeria and stuff that she didn't know what she was doing. That's really, really a dangerous thing. You don't mess with evil. You're just inviting trouble. Actually, at one point, when Debbie was asking him who he was, the entity, and he said that he was Prince Baal, Baal, and also known as Lord Belzebub. What is that? The devil, right? I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah. So he was either he pretended to be the actual devil, or he was the actual devil.
And this guy wasn't messing around.
No.
I mean, he's going right to the top right off the bat here. I mean,
yeah.
Dropping names like there's no tomorrow.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
This
so
family.
obviously
Go ahead.
She's still alive. So, something happened, and we just won't tell you right now what's going on at the end of that book.
They are alive, though.
Yes.
How you mentioned earlier that the children have no recollection of anything like this going on. How were they kept in the dark if they were born into it? Was it because they were quite young at that point and still impressionable to what is going on around them?
Well, Debbie and her husband got married about a year after this all started. So, and then she was, gave birth about a year after that. So that's probably 2 years out of the 6 years, when she had her first child. And the kids were just too little, so they don't remember any of that. I think Debbie was obviously, was very protective of their kids, but Deb she was never worried about the entity. I don't know why. It's amazing that she was never afraid. Everyone else was afraid, but she was not afraid. So her daughter is the one that is the artist that gave the illustration for the book. Obviously, she knows about it now.
No, I understand that, and obviously, if Debbie made a deal with this demon to not harm the children, this is where it makes me wonder if it was really a demon or not, because demons really aren't into making deals unless they come out on top, and children being quite vulnerable in a situation like this, it's amazing the demon wouldn't play against that.
It's interesting too. Yeah. I mean, they hurt the animals. All the animals got really hurt, but the demon had its sight on Lee, on the woman. And so there was a connection there that, is different than the kids. He wasn't interested in the kids. He was interested in the adults in that situation.
But in order to get the adults, the worst thing that a demon could do is harm the children.
I would think so, but it didn't happen. So I don't know why,
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'll put you on the spot here a little bit. How do we know that it's an actual demon and
I'm
not
sorry.
just one pissed off spirit?
Say that again, please.
How do we know it actually was a demon and not just some upset spirit?
Most just pissed off spirits don't have that kind of power. I mean, for a demon, for any kind of spirit can physically touch things, move things around. That takes a lot of power. So we all believed and accepted that he was a demon. That's what he claimed himself to be,
Okay, so I mean, you're taking his word for it. Now, did you personally ever have any encounters with this demon?
Nope. I'm glad. I'm very glad. I mean, there were certain nights when I was, writing this book where you have all the lights on at night and or for me, it was kind of scary a couple of times where I would go in the bathroom and make sure, oh, thank God there's no message in the mirror, So again, I felt I was protected because something could have happened then, What do you think? Did you believe that? Do you believe these people?
I mean, that's actually a good question, because I do believe in demons. I do believe there is something very ugly out there that we cannot control from a devilish, type of hell, but that's the way I was brought up. There's a lot of people out there who will claim differently, but that's just the way I believe. But in hearing the way, I think the thing that's making me question the entire story, and I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not questioning what happened. I'm questioning whether or not it actually was a demon rather than an upset spirit, because of the whole children being protected. Now, when I look at this, and I could be completely wrong, so please forgive me, but when I look at this from an outsider's perspective, I think we have a situation here where we have a very, very angry spirit, originally from France, because let's face it, nobody wants to admit they're from France except the French. And I say that in teasing to all our French listeners out there. Okay. But I look at it, it's showing on one hand that it's from France, and then it's showing on another hand that it's trying to be the devil, but it wants to harm people, but it won't harm people except the family pets. It won't lay hands on the children. It cut a deal with the lady of the house, Mrs. Moffat, even though it never broke that, even though it had the power to do so, which doesn't really make sense to me on why an evil spirit wouldn't attack children, because because if you really wanted to hurt someone, you would attack the children. And maybe I'm looking at this too critically. I don't know. I mean, I love the story. It scares the daylights out of me. Let's be honest. I'm just not sure of the demon part.
Well, it's interesting. I've never known a demon story like this that has some physical stuff. For instance, in this book, Debbie kept all of the pictures, where the demon was making things on the mirrors and so forth. This is a knife that came, just fly out there in the middle of nowhere. There's lots and lots and lots of pictures. So there's lots of evidence. Now, someone could say, well, somebody else just made that up, right? Or whatever. But because they had some of the very credible demonology people that were trying to help the Moffats, and they saw firsthand exactly what actually happened there, with things that are doing while they were there, possessions and so forth. They saw that. So a lot of the people that were in that situation have said things about the book, that it was true. I saw it. I was there. So it wasn't just Debbie, made it up. That's how
I don't believe Debbie made it up at all. I believe
No.
the story. I totally believe the story. I'm just wondering just one side of it, but that's just me. That's just me. All right, let's get to Nikki's question. She is asking, did the family ever cover up their mirrors, or did they ever find out if they had a portal or vortexes on the property?
The portals came from everywhere and every place. So there wasn't one opening. It could happen in any room, in anything. So that happened all the time. As far as the mirrors, what they tried to do is to take the soap so that it couldn't write on them. And then it got worse, because then they were carving into things. So they said, okay, fine, take it. Here's your soap again, because they were tired of correcting and fixing the house. So,
No, I can see that, and I can understand that. All right, let's get to M. Dane's question here, which is, wasn't Lee's husband the reason why it was allowed to be there? Lee's husband wanted her dead?
That's something that you'll have to read in the book yourself. I don't want to tell you right now how that happened and why and the connection and so forth. Did you already read the book, Dane? This person?
We'll find out. We will find out. Now, the family is clear of this demon now, correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The family is clear of this demon now, correct?
Correct. Right now, yes.
Okay. So with that, do they feel that it is still around?
It hasn't been around any person in that family. It's been 25 years. So, they feel like it's past for them. They don't think it's going to come back.
How have they dealt with the post-traumatic stress of this all?
A lot. I think everyone had it's like any kind of traumatic thing, people are going to deal with that for a long time. I mean, her husband, everyone decided that nobody wanted to talk about it. So for 25 years, they didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell friends. They didn't tell anybody of any of these things. And then when her husband finally died of a heart attack, then she decided she wanted to tell the story. And she had kept all of the pictures from the mirror, all the stuff that the evidence that she had, and just she put it away for 25 years, and then she brought it out and said, it's time for the world to know. But I think she was protecting her husband too, because he was so emotional about it that she waited until he was passed until she wanted to tell the story. And by that, at that point, her in-laws had passed as well. So it was just Debbie and her kids at that point.
Did this being kill her husband?
I'm sorry?
Did this entity kill her husband with the heart attack?
No. Nope. He already had a problem before all of this happened, and that was 30 years. So they didn't feel at all that the entity had his death. No.
Nikki is wondering, does the family believe the demon was destroyed?
I don't believe it was destroyed. No. There were different choices and different things that happened. He was not destroyed. He just went somewhere else.
Well, that works for us. Let's get to Moosehead's question here. Do you believe angels had to get involved?
Yes, absolutely. And then I was telling you that towards the end of the book, it really is a war of the soul. It's, between love and hate, between, godliness and evil. So yeah, there were definitely a situation where angels had to be involved.
Oh, that's just creepy. We have about 2.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Author Joie Albrecht is with us. We're talking about the book, A Deadly Haunting, based on a true story. It's the story of the Moffat family and the sacrifice they had to make in a fight for their eternal souls. Talking to Mrs. Albrecht now, how has she changed? Is she still looking over her shoulder every time something happens, every time a wall creaks, every time, the house settles? Like, this has to be concerning for her still.
Are you talking about me or Debbie Moffat?
Debbie.
Oh, Debbie. No, she said that she feels like that it's gone, that it's not going to come back, and she's not worried about it at all. So
how about her kids?
Well, her kids didn't know until she told them 25 years after that. So
well, I know that, but do the kids ever fear that this thing may come back and then all of a sudden, now that they're adults, start on them?
I haven't met the son, so I can't speak for him. I did meet her daughter, and she seems to be very actually protective of her mom, and that she feels really fine about it. So maybe she was aware of more of it than she thought was when she was little. Sometimes people retain something that happens even though they're not really aware of it, but it made her strength. Everyone survived. So
when we come back from the break here at the top of the hour, you got some projects that you're working on that you want to discuss. Are you excited to be continuing on with this type of topic, this type of phenomena? Has it become your new niche?
Not exactly with demons, no, but in a more spiritual. Yeah, that would be nice. I want projects that are more spiritual. So I'll tell you about those in a little bit.
I don't blame you. Joy, I'm going to get back to you here when we come back from the break. Author Joie Albrecht is here. You can go on to Amazon, and by listening to what M. Dane in our chat room says, it's a fantastic book, a great read. It's called The Deadly Haunting, based on a true story, and it's about the Moffat family demon. If you're into the paranormal, this is a great book for your collection. We'll be back with Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, I'm going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I am back, and we got about a minute here. All right. Let me unmute you here. There we go. So when we get to the next break, just do me a favor. Just sit through the break, and then I'll say a proper good night to you during the break.
Sure.
Wonderful. Perfect. All right. We got about 20 seconds. Big thank you to Fapster, Ed Clater, and Catfish for the awesome super chats and supporting this show. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to all our new subscribers, to all the veterans out there who are tuning us in tonight. We really do appreciate your listening ears. Sit back. We're going to kick off hour 3 right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us wherever you may be on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Houseman Eyes. Houseman Eyes is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we bring in author Joie Albrecht. She has a true story of a real haunting, real demonic action called A Deadly Haunting. It can be found on Amazon. It's about the true story of the Moffat family, and we appreciate you checking it on out. And Joie, welcome back to the show.
Hi.
You have some other projects that you are working on currently now, because this story here really brought you back into the paranormal per se. And so what do you have up now? What's coming up?
There's a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to say, if there's any of the audience out people that they want another story told, just as like the Moffats, came and said, let's do this. If anyone wants something like this, I'm definitely, can listen to that and see if it's something that we could do. Now, the other thing I was talking about is that when I was a kid, my grandmother was really into Edgar Cayce. So I've read all the Edgar Cayce books and so forth. And when I was in my 20s, I decided I have to do a movie about Edgar Cayce. And so we went to up Northern California. There was a summer kind of situation where all the ARE people were gathered. And because of work at that time, I was like a half day, I missed the beginning of it. And so everybody kind of moved away and wanted me to sit right in this one spot. And I thought, okay. And it turned out that I was sitting next to Edgar Cayce's grandson. And I said, I really want to do this movie. And he goes, well, we want a movie too, so let's do it. And I went, okay, that's really interesting. So we got to be really good friends through the years, and everyone has wanted to do that movie. That movie, there's been so many people from Hollywood that have gone to the area wanting to do a movie of Edgar Casey. I do have a script right now that I've written for it, and I've just talked to Leslie about Leslie Casey about a year ago, and she still wants us to do that. So I do know that somehow it's going to happen because it was just meant to be, So that's one thing that I do believe that it's going to happen in the next couple of years is we will have a movie about Edgar Casey. And if anyone wants to talk to me about that, you can find me over at Facebook. You know who I am. Now, the other project that I think is going to be very interesting that there's never been anything like that before. When I was a kid, as I mentioned, I had a lot of experiences as a child, like with energies, with entities, with all that kind of stuff. And there are so many kids out there that have had those experiences, but they're afraid to tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want people to make fun of me. I didn't want them to, think I was weird. I just wanted to be normal, right? But people have come into this life, where they've had certain abilities, certain knowledge, certain awareness. And I want to do a TV series with kids that have those abilities. So I can bring those kids together in a safe environment, in an endearing environment where they can actually, not just admit of what they can do, but can develop those things. So it's like Harry Potter, all the magic, but it's not fake. It's real. It's the real magic that those kids can, experience in their life. And so right now, Edgar Casey's grandson, Charles Thomas Casey, he was the head of the ARE for a long time, and he wanted to do this project together. And he was trying to find the right children to be in that pilot. And then he passed away. So, right now I'm looking for kids that would work for this kind of series and put it together. So I'm really excited about that. Anybody out there that knows those kinds of kids and their parents that are supportive of that, then please get a hold of me for that.
Why focus on Edgar Casey?
That's separate. Edgar Casey his life is amazing. But this is about the kids. So, Charles Thomas Casey, he works with kids. That's why he was trying to get involved in that, but he passed away. So, that is going to be something with kids that can do healing, that can communicate with spirits, that, all the different things that are awareness that most people don't know about, and or they don't want to admit to it, other people. So, understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I absolutely understand with what you're saying there. Now, with children, why is it important to bring these stories of children out to the public?
Because those kids need to be accepted of who they are. They need to develop their abilities. They can, it's like when people say, I don't tell anybody of this, or I'm afraid because I wear too much, or that whatever. Anything that kids are feel like they're not proud of that, and a lot of kids that have that ability are not proud of it. They're afraid of it. They're afraid that people will make fun of them. They're afraid that they don't understand it. I mean, there was nobody when I was a kid that I could talk to about it, So I think it's really, really important for those kids that are gifted. They're very gifted kids. And right now, they're more and more of those kids are going into the earth right now. So I want to be there to help them.
And I would agree with you that I truly believe that there are a lot more children that are coming out as gifted.
Right.
I don't know why they seem so much more spiritually in tune. Maybe as the majority of families in North America stop going to church and start finding their own spirituality or their own beliefs, maybe that has a big part to it. What do you think is causing that?
I don't know, but I think over the last probably 30 years, it's kids are coming more and more and more to this planet. And perhaps that means because there's a big happening, something that's going to happen that those kids have to be prepared, the planet for that, the people of that. We'll see. But they're coming for a reason.
Focusing on children, what kind of abilities are we talking about here?
I know kids, there's some kids that are really good with energies. So crystals, just energy fields, that kind of thing. Other kids that are very good at healing, that they can actually do healings. Other kids can communicate with spirits. So there's lots of things that are more extraordinary than others. I mean, some of the kids actually have the ability to move things, without touching things, right? So again, this is energy. A lot of it is energy. Have your kids ever thought about that?
No comment. You'll have to read it in the book.
Okay.
I've seen my kids do some extraordinary things. My oldest daughter is very intuitive, except her own mental health issues that she inherited from her father, me, have kind of, I think, debilitated that a little bit. My stepdaughter used to walk out in our back green belt to meditate, and she would sit down and she would have fairies come around and land on her. She was very connected that way, but then boys came around and kind of killed that. And the little guy, well, we don't know about him. We just know that he loves his heavy metal music, and that's it. He's more in tune with aliens. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well,
But he's seen things. He has seen things, and he has been very cryptic at times. And I know one time he scared the living daylights out of me. We have this island off our kitchen counter, and that's kind of where we do a lot of our dinners or breakfast meals. And it was about 9 o'clock at night, and it was just him and I at home. And I was getting, it was about 8:30, and it was in the fall, just about 2 years ago. And him and I watched these two rectangular bars of light, kind of looking like military captain's bars, go floating from our dining room area into our kitchen and then out the kitchen window.
wow.
And I saw him looking at it, and I saw it, and I said, "Did you see that?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "What was that?" I said, "I don't know." And about 2 minutes later, he absolutely goes out of nowhere into an absolute temper tantrum, crying.
Wow.
And he goes, "You're going to die soon. I don't want you to die."
Wow.
And I have never been more scared in my life then when out of the blue after a paranormal experience, my little guy all of a sudden starts talking about me dying. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, like what is going on here? This isn't good. I don't like this, you know? So I was freaked out for a little while.
Yeah.
I really didn't know
You're
what was
still
going to
here.
happen.
You're still here, so I'm glad you're okay.
Yes, I am too. I mean, that's something that just scares the daylights out of you.
Mhm.
You're going to die soon. I don't want you to die.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm like,
Mhm.
I didn't sleep that night very well.
Mhm. Well, my sister has premonitions sometimes about things that are going to happen, and she doesn't happen very often, but when she does, she's very, very adamant about it, and I listen to her when she does that.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I mean, you have to pay attention. And I think one of the things with children, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, but when it comes to the spiritual side, especially with the younger ones, we really as adults don't give them the credit for the knowledge that they still have with that spiritual connection.
Yep, absolutely. You know, oh, so I heard a story one time. This is a great little story. Um, the parents had this little boy, and he was about 3 or 4 years old, and just had a new baby brother, and he wanted time alone with the brother, and they kept saying, "Why does he want to do that? Is he going to hurt the child? Blah, blah, blah." And they finally said, "No, tell us what you want." And he goes, "Because I want him to remember God, because he's going to get too older and then he'll forget." I was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful, right? And that's what kids do. They forget. By the time they're 5, 6, they don't remember those things anymore. But there is a whole spiritual world that those kids came from, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I really do think that we have to really start focusing a little bit more on those entire stories because there's a lot of times when children we think it's their imagination and we as adults because we become so closed-minded we really want to play that off as imagination, but how do we tell the truth from just a child's mind?
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of adults, at that point, they've forgotten where they have come from, where their spirit is from before their bodies, right? And the kids still remember that, and I think that it needs to um, you know help their ability to accept who they are and where they came from, where they did come from. So you know I think it's a beautiful thing. I really am excited about creating that kind of series for the kids. And other kids are going to be excited about it too. It's like, wow, they can do that. They can do this. It's like little, Harry Potter kids, but it's their magic. So that's what I want to do.
I don't blame you. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great idea for that. And for you who has the ability to put this on camera, is this something that you want to take onto a television or movie screen or a documentary, or is this about another book?
No, this is going to be for TV, you know. So I right now I just need to find the right kids and put that group together. Um, you know, which I want to put as a castle and put all the magic in for them, so that they can have that relationships with each other, that can support each other, that, get excited about that they can enjoy that being magical children, you know?
For parents out there who are wondering whether or not their children are gifted in any way, shape, or form, what should they be looking for?
They have to have an open communication with the children, because again, a lot of the kids are going to say, I'm not going to tell them because they won't believe the person or whatever. So, it's important to have that kind of communication with the child to say, so, do you experience things that sometimes other kids don't? And what's that about? And is that fun? Is that exciting? Is that, scary? What's all that about? And really keep that dialogue, because once they open up, it's opened that world and that magic for them, because they're allowing it to happen. It's really important that the kids can know that it's allowed, right? So
Why do you think then so many parents are wanting to close that door, saying, oh, it's just imagination or something along those lines?
because they've forgotten the magic themselves. They've already closed them about those kinds of things. For them, it's not real anymore. And it's really sad that, it's sad that adults lose that magic. It's sad that some adults, won't allow their own kids to explore that kind of magic for them. So, I've never seen a show like this before, and this is one of the things that I was here to do, that because, I had those things as a child and I didn't have support for that. I didn't have anyone to talk about. I didn't do anything with that. So I really want that for other kids.
So this is kind of like your payback for what you didn't get.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I think it's going to be a great thing.
When could we start seeing something from you on this?
Once I have the kids together, it would probably be, probably 3 to 6 months until I can put a pilot out there and put it out there for one of the network, can get involved. Yeah, I would even love to see with Oprah. I mean, she's a very spiritual person, she might be involved in that. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see the reaction, because I think a lot, especially, younger parents, who are now in their 20s and 30s, I think they're taking more note of the strangeness that their children are talking about or experiencing themselves, and taking it more literally. And it really does show that if you have an open line of communication with your children, there's a good opportunity that they're going to be telling some pretty incredible stories.
Right. And it could open the doors for those children to really make amazing things in their lives and for other people's lives, that otherwise they wouldn't be able to have an access to that. So I think that children are, the future, obviously, and they can create some things that will be really, really special in the next whatever years, right?
I think so too. We got about 40 seconds left with you tonight. Do us a favor, tell everybody where they can find your work and stay in touch with you.
Well, I'm Joie Albrecht. You can find me at Facebook. That's the main thing that I've used. And if you get a hold of me and send me a message of what you want to talk to me about, I will respond. So
I think that's great. Joey, I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Absolute pleasure having you here, and what a treat to break down that great story of a deadly haunting, and that is the true tale of the Moffat family and their demonic overlord for 6 years. We really do appreciate it. You hang on here, because we're going to go to break here on Spaced Out Radio. Remember, you can find A Deadly Haunting on Amazon. Highly suggest you pick it on up if you love true stories. Coming up next, we have the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Great job.
Good. Thank you.
Give you a few claps here. That was awesome. Thank you so much for telling this story. It was absolutely great.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks. And
I
hopefully
appreciate you.
I'm going to be with that children's magical series, and we can come and talk again.
Well, you make sure you stay in touch with that, okay?
Well, absolutely.
Because I would love to cover that. I really would.
Yep.
All right, my friend. I'm going to let you go, and you go enjoy the rest of your night. I got to get ready for the news here. But thank you for coming on in tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Take care. Good night.
Bye.
What a nice lady. Very nice lady. That was fun. Hi, Katie A. How are you? That's some good clapping in the chat room there, people. Very good clapping. Yeah, we'll bring her back, Nikki, when she finishes up her child series on gifted children. How we all doing tonight? We having a good time? Guitar lesson number 2 tomorrow. And it's going to be cool. The only crappy thing about it is apparently I got a call from my son's guitar teacher today. And apparently my son has been so hard on his guitar in playing around with it, his first guitar, that it's not setting properly and it's not staying in tune. So that means that the red one that usually hangs here is now going to be his guitar. Yes, I'm getting that one tuned up for him. He loves that guitar. He thinks it's the greatest guitar in the world. And so I'm getting that set up for him. But the good news is right here. No, right here. A new guitar is going to hang there soon. I found a nice, cheap, really nice guitar on Facebook Marketplace that I got. And I'm picking it up on Thursday. My boss actually found it, and he got this guy had a few guitars he's trying to get rid of. Right now, Michael Leger, my son is really into Linkin Park and the Scorpions. He still loves his Five Finger Death Punch. He really loves his Pantera. He loves his Bumblefoot and Sons of Apollo. Loves his GNR. Loves Metallica. And hey, Shadow Time Rider, how are you? I don't know if he's really got into Nirvana yet. I haven't introduced him to the grunge. I do have to do that. He likes Texas Hippie Coalition, too. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, the news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the UFOs. Senator Marco Rubio is leading calls to take reports of UFOs more seriously ahead of the expected release next month of a government report on such sightings. Rubio, who is acting as Senate Intelligence Committee chair, asked for an unclassified copy of the report to be released to Congress. He said to 60 Minutes that anything that enters an airspace that's not supposed to be there is a threat. Now, you know what? There was a lot of hype on this 60 Minutes episode regarding UFOs. We saw Marco Rubio. We saw Luis Elizondo. We saw Chris Mellon. We saw David Fravor. You know, we saw a lot of new yet old information. The story was old. I'm actually surprised that a news outlet of 60 Minutes caliber and stature literally waited 3 years to broadcast exactly what the New York Times article did in December of 2017. They didn't tell us anything new. They told us everything that we already know. That's the bad side. The good side about it is over 9 million people took in that episode of 60 Minutes. Now, the people who are watching 60 Minutes, they're there for hardcore news. They're not there for fluff. They're not there for clickbait. They're there for hardcore news because the 60 Minutes show has had a stellar reputation over the decades. Can't even say over the years, but over the decades about covering hardcore news, hardcore investigative stories. So the fact that they actually covered this, I think, was a win for the UFO field. It put this topic in 9 million households and in front of 9 million sets of eyes. That is very strong. The downloads were over 1 million as of this morning on YouTube, and that's going to increase as well. But they didn't tell us anything new. They didn't tell us what could be coming up in the report. They didn't mention the 2015 incident in the Atlantic Ocean. They didn't mention the 2019 incident in California off the coast of San Francisco, even though they used the video of Jeremy Corbell that he released of the night vision triangles that were there. No, it was all about the 2004 Nimitz. They re-showed the videos there. It doesn't take 3 years to come up with this story. That's where I was disappointed. I think as ufologists and people who have a heartwarming connection to this story, We lost out from 60 Minutes. But to those who were out there who may have been really not paying attention to all of the recent news, or just not interested in this topic at all, or naive enough that they had never heard about it before, I believe that this was a strong showing for 60 Minutes. But the key that we have to figure out, and nobody is answering this question, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, is why now? Why now? Why now? Why now? For 70 years, as I stated on Grant Cameron's panel right after the 60 Minutes episode, for 70 years, people like you, people like me, who have had experiences with UFOs and or extraterrestrials have been labeled as wingnuts, crazy, kooky. Some have committed suicide over it. Some have been murdered over it. The government has labeled people like us as conspiracy theorists who wear tinfoil on our heads. And guess what? The conspiracy theorists are right. We are right. This is happening. And the governments around the world, especially in the United States, are admitting it, finally. Ever since Roswell and before, up until now, that is 70 years of the government making fun of us. The government poo-pooing this subject like it does not exist and making fun of people who go chasing them lights in the sky. So my question to you is why now? And if you're on Twitter and you see me using hashtag why now you know why. Because we need to know why now. Do not trust the government on what they are saying. Don't. Remember, they have covered up this story for 70 years. If there wasn't an agenda to push, they wouldn't be pushing it so hard. To me, it comes down to one of two reasons. One of two reasons. Either A, what Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about over the last few years regarding a false flag alien event, an alien invasion false flag, where the aliens come down like Independence Day and they're going to try and take us out. But thank goodness we got Will Smith in an FA-18. Okay? Harry Connick Jr. is just a terrible pilot. He doesn't listen or keep his mask on for oxygen. This is the dumbest death I've ever seen. You know, Randy Quaid will be there. I actually messaged Randy Quaid on Twitter. Said, hey, come on, Spaced Out Radio. You know, hello, boys. I'm back. Independence Day, remember? I hashtagged that. Still waiting. But nonetheless, that's reason number one. Or the one that I believe is reason number two. And that is, we have been contacted. We have a date, a potential arrival, and the government knows that it has to start preparing the citizens. Notice they are keeping all of the reports strictly to the military. They are keeping all reports to the military. They're not talking about your sightings or my sightings. They're only interested in the military. And one of the fighter pilots that came out in that 60 Minutes interview said it was happening like every day for 2 years. Every day they went out for training for 2 years. So my point is this, and don't quote me on it because there's a good chance I'm going to be wrong. But I think a date has been set. I think that they know when they're coming. I think contact has been made, and they are preparing us for the inevitable, which is for humankind to find out that we are not alone. And now we will see what happens on June 25th. And on this show, we'll have a lot of UFO talk coming up very, very soon. A newly leaked Navy video appears to show an unidentified flying object disappearing into the water off of California, according to a clip made and obtained by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. The video was captured in July 2019 by Navy aircraft and recorded in the USS Omaha's Combat Information Center. The clip appears to show a spherical object flying above the water for a few minutes near San Diego before it vanishes. It splashed, military personnel can be heard saying on the video. The Defense Department confirmed that the clip was recorded by Navy personnel, and it said it will be reviewed by the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, a panel established last year to gain insight into the nature and origins of this subject. The video was published a few days before the 60 Minutes interview aired, with two former Navy pilots recall having been dispatched to investigate multiple anomalous aerial vehicles that descended 80,000 feet in less than 1 second. The incident also occurred off of San Diego in 2004. One of the pilots, Commander David Fravor, said that the personnel found the little white tic-tac looking object moving above the water before it disappeared. Seconds later, his ship, the USS Princeton, who we have friends from this show on, Kevin Day, Gary Voorhees, PJ Hughes, all right, Sean Cahill. Yeah, they were all looking at this object, and it reappeared on its radar 60 miles away. By the way, that's about 42,000 miles an hour. Christopher Mellon, top defense official in the Clinton and George Bush administration, said in an interview that there was a lot of continuity between recent reports of unidentified objects and reports dating back decades. What we are seeing are a number of distinct and different things, he said. Sometimes we're seeing a 50-foot object that could travel at hypersonic speeds and seemingly go into orbit or come down from altitudes of potentially above 100,000 feet. Mellon said the stigma associated with reporting such phenomena has long been kept witnesses quiet, a sentiment echoed by Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, one of the Navy pilots interviewed by 60 Minutes. Over beers, we have said, hey man, if I saw this solo, I don't know that I would have come back and said anything, Dietrich said, because it sounds so crazy. By the way, Dietrich signed up for Twitter today. Yeah. And she literally, I want to read you the tweet here because it's actually quite impressive. All right. She states the following. She goes, couldn't get anyone to listen in 2004. Now everyone wants to talk about it. What changed? It's a lieutenant commander in the United States Navy flying FA-18 Hornets back in 2004. She was the wing person to David Fravor and the Tic Tacs. We got to listen. They're coming. I'm telling you right now, they are coming. All right, let's move on here. Palm Springs' iconic Marilyn Monroe statue is soon set to make its comeback, but not everyone is happy about it. After 7 years, the 26-foot statue, titled Forever Marilyn, depicting the Hollywood icon in a flaring white halter dress, will return to Palm Springs permanently. However, many have criticized its future placement in the city, while others call it the commemorative piece sexist. The stainless steel and aluminum sculpture, which is based on Monroe's signature pose from the 1955 film The 7-Year Itch, was one of Palm Springs' most popular attractions between 2012 and 2014. She makes the majority of the people very happy, managing director at the Palm Springs Hilton, Aftab Dada, said. The photos taken and being transmitted all over the world will do nothing but benefit the city of Palm Springs. However, some aren't excited about the statue's placement. No, cancel culture is getting right in on this one, which would display Marilyn Monroe's backside right in front of the Palm Springs Art Museum's entrance. The thought of those kids leaving our museum and having the first thing they see is the undergarments and underwear of this enormous Marilyn sculpture would be highly offensive, says Louis Grachos, the director of the museum. as he told City Council. Despite his concerns, the council voted on temporarily placing the statue at the front of the museum for the next 3 years. Others shared similar concern with Groucho's, saying the statue promotes an act of sexual harassment known as upskirting, when someone takes photos up a person's skirt without their knowledge. She's literally going to be mooning the museum, Elizabeth Armstrong says. She's the former director of the Palm Springs Art Museum and spokesperson for a Change.org petition opposing Monroe's objectifying statue, which currently has more than 40,000 signatures. It's blatantly sexist, says Armstrong. It forces people almost up to upskirt. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't force anybody to be a pervert. This is a classical film with a classical Hollywood icon in her classical pose. There's nothing sexist about this. All right? It's what Monroe was made for. This is why every man and woman out there has loved Marilyn Monroe. Now, maybe some of you don't, but, and then Dada said, she's an attraction in our opinion. She is not an art. To quell some of the backlash, Dada said, a thorough independent research study on the statue's economic impact and benefit for the city and museum would be conducted. Great. So now they're going to waste taxpayer money doing an economic impact study to see about putting a statue of a Hollywood icon who died way too young. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. A Colorado man who was charged in connection with the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol could face house arrest after he shot and killed a mountain lion, breaking state and federal laws by possessing a gun, federal prosecutors said. After he was arrested in January for his alleged role in the Capitol siege, Patrick Montgomery of Littleton, Colorado, was released from custody under a number of pretrial conditions, including that he not possess a firearm and not violate state or federal law. In a motion to revoke his release this last week, federal prosecutors said Montgomery violated the terms after he shot and killed a mountain lion at a park in Denver in late March. Along with the stipulation in his release, Montgomery was also banned from owning a gun after he previously was convicted for a robbery in 1996. Montgomery has no respect for the court's orders, just like he had no respect for law enforcement at the Capitol on January 6th, prosecutors said. Montgomery has flagrantly violated the law and has shown by his actions that he is unlikely to abide by court orders. Federal authorities first learned of Montgomery when tipsters identified him inside the Capitol building January 6th in photos posted to his Facebook. According to an affidavit, one of the photos allegedly appeared to show the Senate chamber accompanied with the caption that read, "We stormed the Senate, open those chamber doors for transparency." Moving on, we got one more here for you. A 24-year-old Florida man, and of course it's Florida man, with a lengthy criminal history, strike two, has been arrested after he allegedly stole the truck, sword, laptop, and other items from a home in St. Petersburg, but left behind his cell phone. Damian Grady was arrested last Tuesday and charged with armed burglary, swell guy, carjacking, resisting arrest, and possession of controlled substances. There's the drugs we needed. Of course, it's meth and crack and cocaine as well. Yeah, this is a bad dude. The Pinellas County Sheriff Office tracked him down through the phone full of photos and videos of the suspect. Yes, the reports say that the homeowner allegedly caught Grady in his kitchen on April 20th after the remote worker noticed his laptop missing. The police report that Grady allegedly had the victim's replica samurai sword in one hand and the victim's vehicle keys in the other. Grady allegedly ordered him to pick up the clothes hamper, fill it with stolen items from the residence, put the victim's belongings in his truck. Grady allegedly drove away in the truck with the homeowner's belongings, and they found Grady's fingerprints on the sword. He, of course, was arrested before. He's not a nice man. He's now in jail. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What were your thoughts on the 60 Minutes UFO story? Start with Drew. It was a snoozer, Dave. Craft sightings are old news. It's time to start unpacking the rest of the story. Michael, nothing that I haven't seen already or heard. However, for those that do not pay attention to this stuff, it must have been enlightening to say the least. Jeff, it was an important step in getting the status quo to discuss the issue seriously. The UFO community is being hard on it. This was a bigger step than is being given credit for. Cheryl, again, a major news organization stood up to the topic and spoke up. Now, many more news organizations are reporting the topic matter. Kudos to 60 Minutes. Constance, they're late at the game. Yeesh. But at least it's something. Brad, insert FUD here. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt on the subject. Stacy, they certainly helped open the conversation among people who wouldn't normally talk about it very seriously. I didn't gain anything from it, but I think it's a positive start. Dave, FUD. F you, Dave. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that from a fellow Dave. Kevin, loved you on Grant's show, Dave. I wish I could have shared my insight based on my OIG special agent experiences with Department of Energy. Kevin, we need you on the show. Another Dave, nothing really new to tell us. Nikki, missed it as I rarely watch regular TV. Gary Voorhees, who was on the Princeton, a win. 8.4 million people watch 60 Minutes. Josh, hope it pushes the door open to what the government really knows. James Clarkson, former cop and guest here. It was exactly the level of in-depth professional reporting I would expect from 60 Minutes. The UFO cat won't go back in the big bag again. Nicole Sakic gets the final word. Every newsroom needs a ufologist on staff. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire. And, of course, our guest, Joie Albrecht, talking about her haunted book. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Twitch, Revolution Radio, Facebook, and Derek and the Snarkettes hanging out quietly on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Hi. How are you? To me, that's blurry, or is it my eyes? I don't know. Come on. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, everyone. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hi, Bombshell Bomber. How are you? There will never be a mountain bun, Stu Gerson. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime. It's nice to see that you're healing up, my friend. Oh, those moments when you see Sean Cahill on CNN talking UFOs, and shortly afterwards you're having a conversation with him on the phone. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's really kind of cool. FAP, what's going on? Tomorrow night on the show, Long Island Bigfoot will be here. Mike Colantonio talking some Sasquatch tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dave, when you go looking for a spirit or a ghost, will you remember this night with Joy? Always. Shadow Time writer Mike Long Island Bigfoot is in our chat room usually a couple times a week. Hanging on out. He is in the United States Army, and in his spare time, goes looking for Bigfoot. Bombshell Bomber. Dave, do you want Fap's phone number so you can prank call him? No, because he's going to know then it's me, that he's going to reverse the charges on me. That wouldn't be fun. Fap's the reason why my phone is always on silent. He doesn't even have my number, but just in case that phone call ever comes. I tease. Dave is going to drink so much soy coffees, he'll be able to have a double man bun back there for his friends to tug on. That's not nice. I'm not pooping right now, Polar Eclipse. I know what you mean, but I just wanted to say that. We're in for a good time here, people. Fap is one of the few people I know on this planet that can actually speak the language they speak in coffee shops. I'd feel comfortable going into a coffee shop with Fap because I wouldn't know what the hell to order, and he'd order for us. That amazes me how coffee shops literally have their own language. I walk into a Starbucks and the first thing I say to the person who's setting my order, I'll be like, I just want you to know I don't speak coffee. So if there's somebody who can speak English and not coffee, I can get an order in. Because I don't understand that coffee talk. I really don't. And then all those fancy things people put on there. Chad Smith, what's going on, man? I am not double man bunning. Get that out of your head. Hold on. For you to get something out of your head, you got a better chance of seeing Halley's Comet again. Well, let's find out. When does Halley's Comet return? July 28th, 2061. We've got 40 years before Halley's Comet comes back. Holy shit, I would be 87. I might make it. I doubt it, but I might make it. When is the next visible comet? Oh, December 12th this year. It'll be Comet Leonard's closest approach to Earth. That's actually kind of cool. Brand new comet. Actually, kind of cool. December 12th, Susan. Yes, my birthday is getting closer. My birthday is 1 week away. Right there. That's what it is. What am I not biting on? We're not wearing man buns. Shadow Time Rider. Do you think the UFO disclosure is to push climate change? No, I do not. Although the extraterrestrials, believe it or not, they are very much against a lot of the things we are doing, according to people who are in very close contact. I don't think they'll push the climate agenda. I tell you what I think will be pushed is the fear, the threat. You got to here's the one thing that I'm learning through this, okay, and I've talked to a number of sources about this. And Shadow Time, I don't know who you are or who you write for, so I apologize if I give you some information that you may already know. But from what I have, from what I have learned from my sources, is that the threat narrative is going to be continued to be pushed because they have a lot of secrets that they are covering up. A lot of secrets that would cause a big, it would piss a lot of people off. It would piss countries off. Excuse me. It would piss United States citizens off. It would do a lot of damage. So during this entire thing right now, I would say that the biggest threat out there right now is the threat narrative. That's why they are focused strictly on the military installations. They're not focusing on anything else. And that is a concern that I have, and I know some others do as well. I mean, the problem that we have right now is the UFO field is blinded by all of the news coverage because the UFO field has wished this for decades, and they've never got this subject being covered the way it is now being covered in history. This is brand new. My why now, one of my sources, and he could be completely wrong, but he hasn't steered me wrong yet, and I will trust him on it, has told me that a date was set. They don't care about. Here's the other thing you need to realize too. They don't care about your generation or my generation. I'll be 48 next week. So they don't care about the 40 and up crowd. Okay. They don't care about that. What they care about is what they care about is the younger generations. That's what they care about. Absolutely, they've proven that. That's why they're calling him a threat. It's the perfect alibi. Don't you think? Name a better alibi. Right? Exactly. I've been told a date has been set and it's within the next 5 to 30 years. Those are the dates I've been told. I'm not going to say who I got it from, where I got it from, how connected my source is or not. I'm not going to say it. But I think I agree with that. It makes sense. And I think we all have to pay attention. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime, just a splash. You want to be an independent journalist. How to do it? Give me 2 seconds here because I'm just loading up some audio to transform it to MP3. Number one, do not call yourself a journalist. Biggest mistake you can make. Do not call yourself a journalist. Call yourself what you are. You're an amateur writer. You're a blogger. You're a vlogger. Today, there is not much of a difference between writing and being going on video. More people want video. More news outlets, including radio, want more video coverage because people are responding better. People don't have time to read articles anymore. Second, find a focus. What do you want to focus your writing on? All right. What subjects do you want to cover? Do you want to cover sports? Do you want to cover UFOs? Do you want to cover politics or whatever? Learn your writing skills. Keep yourself out of the story and always write a point and counterpoint for every story. So if you have somebody who's saying the sky is blue, you need someone else on the other side of the ledger who's going to say the sky was not only blue, but there were clouds off to the east. Susan, yes. Yes, it is. Fap, take your number down. There's some weirdos out here, man. That's the best advice. Always feel free that you can write. Always feel free. It's a great thing to do. We need more writers out there. Question is, what do you want to write? That's where it starts. Find your focus. Best piece of advice I can give you. Nice polar eclipse. The other thing you want to do, Kurt Seltzer, is get somebody to critique your early work. Critique your early work. Going in front of camera is a lot harder than what you think. Eva. Hi, Eva. Eva. Fine, Fap. I will call. Where's your number? Hold on. Let's see if Fap answers.
Is this Dave?
Is this Fapster?
Yes, it is.
Let's be honest right now. How big is your head?
It's an 8.
I think you're larger.
Could be an 8.5.
That's more like it. That's more like it. What are you doing, man?
Can you hold on? Can you hold on 1 sec?
All right. I call him and he puts me on hold.
No. Hold on. All right. I think it's better.
Do you feel better now?
Yes, I do. How are you?
I'm good, man. I am good. What are you doing?
Nothing. Sports 101, and just listening to you.
Very cool. Are you shocked that I called?
A little bit, yeah.
Are you nervous?
I
mean, I'm not going to ask.
Really.
I'm not going to ask you to make out or anything.
You're funny, man.
You know what? I will say this. Very much thank you for being an awesome listener of the show and everything you do to support us, man. I really do hold that in high regard, and you're a class guy in the chat room, and I really appreciate you.
That's really cool, man. I love it. You found your show, pretty much like when you first started out, and I didn't even know, what to look for, but I was just looking for stuff about, kind of like it on the NFL topic.
Yeah.
And I found you.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm totally glad you did. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. I love it.
Well, you're a big part of what we do on a nightly basis, man. And I think Kurt Seltzer wants to shave Rye Guy's legs. I really do.
I bet. Funny.
Seriously. Come on. You got an open mic here. Give it to him.
Get what? I'm sorry.
Give it to Vinny or Rye Guy. I mean, they didn't even show up tonight.
Oh, Vinny was a bitch. You know.
Is he?
Yeah.
I heard that Vinny actually has dingle balls hanging from his inside of his vehicle.
Hey, Dave, I'm kind of.
Are
I
you?
can't hear you.
Are you? Can you hear me now?
No.
Hold on. Might be my Wi-Fi. Hold on. Let me check. Oh, it ain't my Wi-Fi. Can you hear me now? Hold on. Did he hang up? I think he hung up. Let's try him again. Damn it, what's his number? Go there. Let's go there. Hold on. I hit the wrong button.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 9.
I think his phone died. Chad Smith, what's going on? David Fortner, welcome. Thank you. I don't think I'm the best, but I try and keep in touch with what's going on. That's what I will say. I am far from the best. That panel last night, they were some of the best. Oh, I can't, there it is. Hello, Fapster? Are you there, Fappy Poo?
I'm here. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, man. My phone took a shit. Sorry.
You went and dropped a deuce?
Yep.
Nice. I got you on the microphone here.
Okay. That's fine.
So people can hear you.
Yeah, that's fine.
What do you want to talk about?
I have no clue, man. I mean, what do you have to do? You seen any Bigfoots or UFOs or Carl?
No, actually, you know what did happen yesterday? True story.
What?
So my buddy Mark and I, we go out riding our side-by-sides into the forest. Okay?
Yeah.
And we get about 17, 18 kilometers, or I'll put it in miles for you so that way you understand. 11 miles in. And
thank you, First Americans.
Yeah. And came across a big black bear on a side trail. That was kind of cool. And then we got all the way to our gifting site, which was about 26, 27 miles away. And my side-by-side broke down.
Bigfoot.
No,
Right.
No Bigfoot.
Aliens.
No, nothing.
Aliens.
So I had to get towed out of there to the main logging road where my friend Mike had to come pick me up. Okay, so I could go back and get my truck and trailer. And anyways, as we were driving back to pick up my truck and trailer, I actually we actually saw a grizzly bear mama and her 2 cubs. I've never seen a grizzly bear before. So that was kind of cool. And then driving back with my truck and trailer to pick up my side-by-side, we actually had a bunch of wild horses run in front of us. So that was
That's
cool.
weird, man.
That was a cool day.
Really cool.
Yeah. I like the wildlife.
It's not like down here in California, where I'm at. So
I know. You're in the concrete jungle, man.
but I could take you surfing, and you
No.
could see a few sharks.
No, there's that one documentary guy out of California now who actually is using a drone to show how many sharks are actually in the areas in the ocean of where the surfers are.
Oh, I know.
And these surfers don't even know.
Yeah.
And they're like,
That's me. Like, I'm out there, and I've seen those drone videos, and just like looking back at like how many years I've been out there, and like that's what it was. Scary.
yeah, dude,
they're gonna eat you.
you're gonna get eaten. You're gonna get eaten, man.
I could.
You're lucky. I'm surprised you can, with the size of your head, that you can stand on a surfboard with balance. I'm surprised. I'm actually kind of fucking impressed, to be honest.
It's funny.
Yeah, man. How long you been surfing for?
Probably since I was around 12, like 11, 12.
Really?
Yeah.
See, the surfing thing has always scared the shit out of me. Always.
You know what's funny is not funny, but it would probably scare the shit out of you. It was a really calm morning, and like a walrus, like the elephant, like one of those big ass things with a big tusk.
Yeah.
It came right up and literally right up in front of me, like 5 feet in front of my face.
Oh, wow.
And it came up, and it had that like this heavy breathing, like the air, and that was it. And then I went back down, and I didn't see it again. But it was huge. It was like an elephant.
No kidding.
So big. It's so fucking big.
No kidding. That would scare the daylights out of me.
And, I didn't have there was literally nobody around me except that thing.
Have you ever been surfing when the whales have come in?
Like dolphins or whales?
Whales, yeah.
Well, yeah, both, but not like, I'm not sure what to talk about.
Like, I saw some drone footage a couple days ago from California where this gray whale came in to where all the surfers were getting ready to paddle on out to catch the waves, and a gray whale was like swimming all underneath these surfers.
Oh, I mean, not a gray whale, but I have actually petted a dolphin before.
Really?
Yeah, because they come in like these, schools of fish, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I've actually touched one, definitely.
Have you ever seen a shark fin come out of the water?
Yes.
Yeah, see that right there.
Yes,
right there. Just you saying yes gives me huge anxiety there, Fappy Poo. Huge anxiety.
Not like a gray white. Not a gray white, but like a fan. It's like a sand shark. Like a 6 foot like sand shark.
Yeah. Either way, they're all related.
Yeah, they got you on the menu.
Not going. You don't have to worry about me. I mean, considering you're built like a lollipop, I'd be worried about you. Wondering how many licks it takes to get to the chewy center.
Hey, well, if I'm gonna go surfing, I'm gonna take you out.
No way. No way in hell are you taking me out surfing. Never. Number one, my balance is horrible. I wouldn't be able to stand on the board. But number two, I'm a fucking meal. You know that.
Well, better you than me, right?
No. Not at all. Not at all. See, my buddy Mark says that if we get charged by a grizzly bear, he's shooting me in the leg first because he runs slower than I do.
Yeah, I know. There's a scene in the Walking Dead series where the guy shoots a guy in the leg.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Stu Gerson wants to know where you surf at.
Main place is Trestles.
Is that in SoCal?
Trestles, Cottons, San Clemente. You say San Clemente, it's a huge spot.
Come on, I'm Googling this. Pretzels Beach?
Yeah, if you just put in San Clemente Trestles, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Is that in San Diego County?
No, it's very southmost point of Orange County.
Oh, yeah. You know what's in the water there? Great whites. Yeah. Great whites. That's terrible. I don't know how you do it.
I'll take you out, Dave. I'll get a bigger size board, and we'll go tandem boarding.
No, it's no, it's quite okay. It's quite okay. I'm very good without that. Very good without that.
You gotta do it. If you come to California, you gotta do it.
No, if I go to California, I'm going to Disneyland. Now, do you? Bomber wants to know. Hey, Fappy Poo, does Grandma Rose go surfing with you?
No, she is. She's pretty much like you. She's not into it.
But she'll come to Vegas really and party.
Oh yeah, she'll do that. But anytime I go in the water, like she's the one that and she has worries, But it's a grandma,
Yeah. How is Grandma Rose these days?
I was gonna say, she was asking about you.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Very nice. Send her my love.
So she, I will.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, my friend, I have to get going here because I have to get off to bed, but thank you for taking my call.
Oh, thank you too, man.
All right, brother. You take care, Fappy Poo.
All right, Dave. Love you, man.
Love you too, man. Take care. Bye. That's the Fapster, everyone. Let's give Fapster a clap. The Fapster. How awesome was that? I hate to cut it short, but I do have to get to bed here because I do got to get up in the morning for my daytime job. And yeah, that was fun. That was fun. By the way, on my birthday show, which is next Monday, normally I try to open it up to a bunch of like cool guests to come on in. I'm not going to do that this year. I got Samantha Mowat coming on for my birthday show. And I'm going to post the invite link on StreamYard. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the invite link on StreamYard. You got to be on Google or Firefox or on your phone. Google Chrome, that is. And I will have you kind of call in, pseudo call in. Okay? And you can even ask Samantha a question. So one time a year where I will allow people to call in, which is on my birthday show. But you got to use the StreamYard link. So on that note, my friends, we are going to say good night to all of you. Make sure you're going to be on camera. So when you come on the show on the birthday, you're going to be on camera. All right. Yeah. Excuse me. So we will see you all tomorrow night. Much love. Thank you, Fapster, for the awesome phone call. Yes, and hey, Clam, wear pants. Talk to you soon, guys. Tomorrow night, Long Island Bigfoot. Let's go into the forest of New York. See you then. Thank you to all the veterans who listen to this show. Thank you to Catfish ×3, to Ed, to Fapster for the awesome super chats. Thank you to everybody tuning on in. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow night.